Hi everybody, it's Rhiannon from the Epsom Bakehouse, and actually today I want to talk to you about 4 ways that you can shape your bread if you don't have a loaf tin like this. And the reason I want to talk about that today is just that I'm a big advocate of being able to bake bread with a minimal amount of equipment. I don't want you to rush out and buy lots of equipment. You should be able to do this with things that you've got already around the home. I appreciate that you might not have one of these to hand, or you might not want to go out and buy one. So today I just thought I'd talk a little bit more about how you can shape your loaf if you don't have one of those, and 4 different ways that will still let you bake great pretty bread that you can serve up at home. So I'll start off with the first one, and I've just started it here. So the first one is a plait or braid, and the easiest way to do that is to take your dough and to divide it up into equal size pieces. So you might want a piece about that much. That's about 80 grams. So it will depend on how much dough you've made. You can make a bigger plait. This one I've done pieces that are about 80 to 90 grams each. And then I've rolled them out. So I started off in a ball like that, and I've rolled it out into a sausage and pinched them together at the top so that they're fanning out. And then I've just gone right over left, over right over left. And you can see down the bottom, I'm just going to finish off plaiting that. So literally I'm just going right over left, over the one in the middle, all the way to the end, and then tuck those together at the end. And you get a lovely plaited shape. And all you'll need to do with that is to put it onto a baking tray. You can see there, nice plaited loaf. And you can imagine if you made that with a bigger amount of dough, it would make a fantastic centerpiece. You could sprinkle that top with seeds, you could brush it with perhaps some milk or a bit of egg to break a brown top if you're making a more enriched dough, and that will make a really great shaping loaf. So you'd need to leave that to rise now before you bake it. A second one that you can make with a larger piece of dough, like I have here, is your classic ball shape, or the kind of semicircle round loaf. Pat down your loaf, pat down your dough, and then you're going to stretch all around the outside. And the reason that we're doing shaping is that we're creating tension across the top of our dough. So that's what this stretching and folding does. All the way around, folding it up. Turn it over, you've got a nice smooth top, tuck the edges under. If you see any little air bubbles, pop them, otherwise they'll burst in the oven later on. And again, I'll put that onto my baking tray to prove. So you may already have a baking tray or a cookie sheet or anything like that, something you bake biscuits on, anything flat. It could be that you put it into a roasting tin, as long as it's got a flat bottom and you line it with a bit of baking paper to stop your dough sticking. You can prove it on there. So a third shape that you can do, a little bit different to the ball, is cut your dough up and make rolls. So really great because you can make all of them into rolls, and then if you don't need half of them, they'll freeze really well. So again, all you need to do there is build some tension up all the way around, stretch the edges round, tuck under, and you can either roll it like that or just shape. You get a nice smooth roll shape. The last kind of shape, it's not really a shape, but I would just say make use of what you already have in your kitchen. So here are some alternative tins that I have that aren't loaf pans. So I've got a muffin tin there, and these might also help if your dough is quite wet and slack and you do want a tin to support it, but you haven't got a loaf tin already. So for example, the rolls that I made just then, you could, if you make a whole section of them, I would line the bottom of this and grease it, and then you can put all of your rolls into the tin, and you'll make a tear and share. If you put them all next to each other, nice and snug, one in the middle, let them prove in there and bake, you'll get a really nice tear and share bread at the end. And likewise with the muffin tin, you could use that for very slack dough to contain it, and you'll get a nice round shape. Personally, I would want to line that as well and definitely grease it before I put my dough into it. So that was just us talking very quickly today, my tip for today of how to shape your loaf. if you don't have a loaf tin to put it in. And just encouraging you to think a little bit more about the different shapes you can make with your bread. If you've got any bread making comments as well, or questions about anything you've seen in the video, or any other questions that you'd like answered on a live like this, just let me know in the comments. And as I say, I'll put a link in there to my newsletter. And if you do sign up, you'll get 5 key bread making tips straight away, 1 per day, to your inbox that will help you start baking your own bread at home. So if you've been watching, thank you very much. If you're watching on the replay, then as I said, if you've got any questions, just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, it'll be good to see you here again soon. And I will say bye for now.